All right, so I've made some changes to my mic, um, which I can show over here. Um, this is the program that I use for my audio regulation, the SteelSeries GG. And what I have is a Blue Yeti feeding into this. But what I've done is I've enabled the AI noise cancellation at a slightly higher rating. I've also turned on the noise gate and set that to negative 29 decibels. And I've turned the compressor on as well, which kind of keeps everything at about the same volume, so that should help out with some of the louder background noises. Already, you should be able to tell, like, you can't hear the AC unit in the background at all. And I'm going to go ahead and take a puff off the vape, and it shouldn't catch that. And in fact, let me move this up just so I can see the mic thing here. I'm going to take a hit. So I seen it jump there. I did do a couple of recordings. That cough there. What I've found is if I cover my mouth when I cough, that kind of helps bring that down some too. Let's take another hit just to see. Huh? So I seen the mic raise up on that and stuff. So I don't know how well that actually picked up in the video, but I have made some changes. I'll listen back to this first part again before I upload. But I've made a few changes to the audio. Also, there is a this comment here. Well, it's a series of comments, but I did read through and I replied a couple times. But I actually really like the idea here for a playthrough. So basically, what they're talking about here is just a standard sort of playthrough with the caveat of not being able to mine salvage only. And also, something interesting, no friendly faction, and it's just me. Basically, all the factions are hostile. I'm not sure how to set the factions to be hostile from the start. I imagine there is a way to do it, but I'm not sure really how to. But I do really enjoy the idea of this. Also, base building would be limited to meteor or space stations only. I'm assuming when they say meteor, they mean like the asteroids floating around. Meteors, from what I understand, are technically asteroids that fall within the gravity well of a planet and begin to travel very rapidly towards the ground. So I don't think that's technically possible within Space Engineers, or at least not currently without mods for mobile grids. But the asteroids, they're stationary. Normally, they're not actually completely stationary, but they do have a set orbit and relatively stable orbit. But yeah, we can do this for sure. Now here it says only 6 mods at a time, so I'm not sure how feasible that would be. Let me go over here. We're going to exit the main menu. And I'll go through and show off the mods I have. Let's just go here to load game. We'll just edit settings and go here into the mods. So I have quite a few. I personally wouldn't count the skybox as being a mod towards that, but that's just me. We're gonna take that off and we're gonna try a different one as well. But so we have like the build and repair system, sneaky sounds, right? Build and repair is a little cheaty, I guess, but it's not crazy just due to how many resources it actually takes to build one. The Spring Gunk Be Gone, I don't really consider that being a mod per se, because all that does is just change the visor to where it's actually clear. The minimap, I could definitely get rid of that. The Stuff Be Small V2, that just allows items of any size to pass through small conveyors. I could turn that off. The advanced welding, I feel like this, along with the mod for, where is it? Improvised engineering. I feel like those two would be very great for a salvaging build, or not build, but playthrough. Just because then, you know, you could actually grind off blocks and move them around by hand, and I feel like that would be great mods for that. The custom turret range extender, I could definitely do away with that, because that's kind of cheaty, I guess. The high pressurized hydrogen tank, I do not utilize this. I needed it for one moment to get the hydrogen transferred from my base to my station when I first left the Earth-like planet in this save, but I haven't used it since. But basically, it's just like a 1x1x1 block that stores an absolute insane amount of hydrogen, so it is definitely kind of cheaty. The small oxygen tank, we don't need that anymore because of this most recent update, so I could get rid of this. The medium hydrogen tanks, I don't think I've actually utilized that. The long range ore detectors, that's definitely cheaty. I can get rid of that. Better spotlights, I don't know, I kind of like the way that that works. The binoculars, I feel like, would be really nice. It kind of gives a like if I were going to do a pirate playthrough, I would like to keep the binoculars solely for, you know, like with pirates, it's very common to have the monocular, not monocular, what's it called? You know, the little thing that they use to zoom in with. This would be like the space engineer's equivalent of that, and I feel like that would be kind of go hand in hand with pirates. Build vision, that's just kind of like a, what's it called? A quality of life sort of thing, as well as the build info. So I mean, these could go either way. Edge Be Gone, that's just a graphical change to blocks. Now, the no transaction or listing fees, definitely that could go, although I wouldn't be trading in that playthrough. Maybe one that was in the comments was maybe one friendly faction to trade with. So that could be a possibility. Actually trading, but I would not be utilizing this. The hacking computer, I don't know if that would be, I mean, it's kind of cheaty, I guess. It just makes life easier. But if we're going to be a pirate, we don't necessarily want life to be easy. We want it to be kind of difficult. This was for another mod, I don't remember, I think it was for Stuff Be Gone. I think that was necessary for that. The minimap could definitely go, though. But, the gravel sifter, that could go, I suppose. There are a few of these that I feel like don't really count, like the sneaky sounds, the gunk be gone, the armor block edge thing. Edges be gone right here. You know, those I don't feel truly count as mods just because it doesn't change anything crazy. It just makes the graphics, not graphics really, but you know what I mean. It just makes minor changes that don't really impact gameplay so much. So those are some things that I would definitely keep, and I wouldn't count as being over the mod limit. Just like the skyboxes, I wouldn't count these as counting towards a mod limit either. But let's see. We tried Nemesis. We tried Belial. Can't remember if we did Eidolon. This one here, we can give that a go. Put that on there, hit OK. Hit OK. We're going to load in with this new skybox and see what that looks like. So I just took another hit off the vape. I don't know if that came across on the mic or not, but I'll figure that out when we get there. Oh, I'm actually getting a call from my grandmother right now. Can I turn on my PlayStation? There. So I'm going to I'm gonna pause, or not pause, but I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to call this back. So it may be a minute before I actually get back. Let's take a look at the skybox real quick, though. Actually, I kind of like this too. It's pretty cool. Let's get the binoculars out. Okay, not a very high quality skybox. I'll do some more looking, I guess. I'm not seeing any lettering, so that's not going to bug me. Although I very much get the feeling this is going to be the, what, second or third in a row where I find lettering in the skybox. I'm just going to give it a little bit of time here and use this for a minute until I find it. And once I find it, it's got to go. If there are any suggestions for skybox that I should use, let me know. But let me pause the game here. I'm going to mute my mic and I'm going to take this call. I'll probably end up cutting this before I upload, but we'll see. Alright, that didn't take too long, so I might not cut that in the video just because I don't want to take the extra time out of my day to do that. Y'all can just fast forward, I suppose. We're gonna, if I do a playthrough, like what was suggested in that comment here, we're gonna definitely try to avoid that, and I'll start, like, you know, cutting shit like that out, but up until then, I really don't care so much. Granted, you know, that it was definitely really good suggestions here. You know, things that actually probably do really matter, but we'll ignore some of that for the time being until the time comes when we potentially start doing a series. And there we go. Make sure that's charging. Perfect. Okay, so things that I need to work on here. Well, for this save, probably not a whole lot more. We are kind of towards the end game here. I could print just about any ship I want, really. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem there. We can we have tons and tons of materials, tons and tons of like what's it called? Power, storage. We got pretty much everything we need here. So you know, and this is actually really good testing for ships like the Arcadia and stuff like that. The Maggie was actually very, very useful. Now, if I do a like a scrap only sort of a playthrough, then I'm not sure how I would want to go about printing ships. So I'll wait until this video gets out and see if that same person comments on the mod list there and see what they think. Anybody else is also welcome to give input. But this build and repair system, it definitely feels kind of cheaty as far as like being able to quickly print stuff out. But also, if you take a look at just the amount of resources necessary to produce this, it's kind of insane, right? Like, we're looking at 200 computers, 600 small steel tubes, 1,200 construction components, 120 superconductors. That's the same as a large grid railgun, you know, like, that's not cheap. Not cheap to make one, and one of them by themselves is kind of slow. So, yeah, it's not super easy to produce that. So for like a scrapyard kind of run, I feel like that wouldn't be too bad to get. At the same time, I could definitely see how it would affect like the quality of like video, you know, like what's it called? Like, it wouldn't feel as authentic. Like having to actually build a printer and print things off in the more standard engineering focused way versus just slapping one of those down, slapping a projector down and just having it do it. You know, it kind of cuts a little bit of the engineering out of it. I feel like would affect the oops. Well, that sucks. We're gonna fly back out there. So really, this video is mainly just we're not really focusing on this bit of gameplay here. It's more so about talking about the idea of doing a playthrough like that. But I definitely dig it. I'm definitely into that idea. It sounds cool. Sounds like it would be a good bit of fun, something different, unique. We're at the sort of later game stages in the save. The main issue now would be designing a bigger, stronger, more difficult to destroy warship. So it's like not a whole lot of interesting things left to do really here. And I'm basically right at the limit. That's why I couldn't throw anything over. We're gonna grab all of this back. And we're gonna go for this unknown signal again. Hopefully I don't smack into it and die again. Now this one is really unique because I haven't seen one with a actual like smoke effect to it like that. That's cool. It looks like this one's been war torn. Nothing special out of it. Magnesium. Don't really need all of that. That's really cool. I definitely love the new signals. Now, in the suggestion, they had mentioned like a you start with a pod. So yeah, space pod start, no mining. So with space pod, I've seen some mods that actually change the pods that you spawn with, and I haven't really seen what the default space pod really looks like. So, you know, that could be pretty cool, for sure. I could also, I don't know if there are any like really cool, like piratey looking space pods already on the workshop or not. In fact, we can go ahead and take the time to check and see what they have. Then come over here to the workshop. I'll search here for space pod. We got a H2 space pod here. We probably don't want anything hydrogen. Just because we can't mine. That would be one of the restrictions. So, let's see. The wasp, that looks really cool. This one right here is catching my eye. It's the Runamuck. So, engineers who think so. Engineers. Heavy armor, ready for action. Not a full-on war, but defends local words, pirates. Triple Gatling turrets. 3 small cargo containers, a cryopod, a rear connector, ore detector, ion thrust, and basic survival kit. I'm going to subscribe to this. I'm not saying I'm going to use it or not, but this is definitely a very interesting prospect. It definitely has the look of a pirate ship. So that might be a good thing to start with there. In fact, actually, let's sort by most popular under space pod and see what some of the other people think is good, which we'll do all time. Okay, so that's still not showing me like anything with like crazy high stars or stuff, but that's perfectly fine. We'll just take a quick glancing look through here. Some of these are kind of neat looking. Some of them just kind of look a little odd. Respawn pod made for survival. Those engineers have been lost in lonely cold for the okay. Let's take a look at this one actually. Very interesting. 50 meters. Flagship survival pod. Twin Gatling, cryo, multiple cargoes. It's got 2 connectors, 4 detector. We're not going to need that for a piratey playthrough. Antenna, hydrogen thrust. Light armor not intended for assault use. Depends on high thrust. Oh, hydrogen thrusters. Okay, so that's going to be a no-go. We're not going to be able to fuel those. And you know, I'm perfectly fine with that. Hydrogen is definitely like the best way to go, in my opinion, as far as like auxiliary thrust if you're going to be doing direct combat. Because the ion thrust, unless you have a lot of it and solid power, the ion's not going to get you enough acceleration to dodge some of those rounds that'll be coming at you. But, I mean, you make do with what you got, yeah, so that'll be okay. So, got some pretty interesting designs. I'm thinking this might be the best route if we go with a modded space pod. Okay, so let's head back over to the game real quick here. Now, I'm not going to be able to use like the Arcadia for a playthrough like that because she runs on hydrogen. That being said, if I were to go to survival and modify it, make a blueprint and print it out to replace the hydrogen with ion, we could utilize that. Arcadia has definitely become by far one of my favorite ships. But regardless, it's not going to matter for a playthrough like that. I'm definitely down with the idea of utilizing ships like these, like the barge and stuff like that, to weld together and craft a ship out of it. That's definitely a very interesting prospect. But let's take a look here. What we got here? Yeah, this is that mod for the high pressurized hydrogen tank, and it's absolutely tiny, but it holds a ridiculous amount. We don't need that. I have all the DLCs, so I've got plenty of blocks to work with for a run like that. I would probably be utilizing solely like the heavy rust or like a war torn or like one of those skins would be like the only thing I would be utilizing to build. Maybe the rusty armor. Probably rusty armor in red would be like the primary colors for anything that I build. Everything else, like all the hobbled together ships we would be making, that would be all keeping just original blocks until they get destroyed and need to be replaced. Then it would be the kind of rusty armor red. But I'm definitely down for doing a playthrough like that. And actually, let's go ahead and save up out of here, right? And we can go ahead and we can do a like a test run, yeah? So we'll do like new game. And I would assume probably just like the plain solar system would be a good start for that. Certainly none of the what do they call it, scenarios. I don't think any of those would be a great start for that. So we would call it something like piracy. And that would be something along that line. It would be survival. We definitely have autosaves. Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this would be a question for everybody in the comments. Would we be allowed to reload saves or not? Because if we're not allowed to reload saves, that would make every choice, every action, have very heavy weight to it. Because we could ruin our progress in a single bad decision. So that would be very interesting. So let me know if like save scumming would be allowed or not. Inventory sizes. What would be the limits on that? We have it set to realistic, which would just be an absolute pain to try to work with. Environment hostility. That's another thing to think about. Is it going to be safe? Is it going to be cataclysmic? You know, that's another thing to think about. For right now, we'll keep everything on default aside from character inventory. Okay. View distance, I would assume that wouldn't really matter for a playthrough like this. Personally, I like the 50-kilometer view distance. I like an unlimited world. But that's just me. Now, cooldowns for respawns. That's another thing. You know, are we gonna be able to respawn in the pod, or is it gonna be one of those things where you get one of them and that's it? Right? So that would be another thing to think about. I don't want to do permanent death because that would be kind of a pain, especially with the way that I am. Chances are we would be restarting from zero like every other episode. Stuff like this I would probably just have on just by default here. Temporary containers, yeah, we would keep that, probably. What about spiders and wolves? Would those be allowed, right? Or, like, would it be forced to have to deal with that if we go on any planets? Or, you know, is that just kind of a no-go? Also, don't think it would really be beneficial in any way, shape, or form to actually go onto a planet, right? Because there would be no reason to other than for the encounters that could spawn on the planet. Unsupported stations. Oh, that brings me into another idea. Would I be allowed to take a grid and set it as a static grid to make it easier to work with, to where I could actually, you know, like pull parts off, drag them around and everything, and not have to worry about whole ships just starting to drift off into space? Or would I be forced into having to deal with like dynamic grids aside from the base and locking stuff to the base, right? That's just something else to think about. Bounty contracts, I have it on in my other save, and I've never seen a bounty contract come up, so I have no idea how that would work, but we probably wouldn't be doing any trading anyways. And see, that's one thing too. I don't know if there's actually a way to set the relations with other factions to be hostile from the start. I don't think there actually is a way to do that. So, I mean, there's probably a mod for it, but I don't think that base game there's a way to set your relations. I could very well be wrong about that, but I'm not sure. You guys in the comments will have to let me know if there is. I could also do a little bit more looking into it myself and see. But yeah, like something like this would be okay. And then for the mods. So personally, what I would throw in here for mods, we would have advanced welding, for sure. Binoculars, for sure. The build info and build vision. So I'm thinking I would keep the build vision, the build info. I'm not sure that I would. I'm not sure that I would keep that. Edges be gone definitely. The easy GPS, I don't really use that now anyway. I just installed that for just a quick little fix of the mess of GPS markers I had. So no high pressurized tank. We'll turn this on if necessary for another. Stuff be small. That's a little cheaty because it changes how the items flow back and forth between small and large connectors. Space pod. We will toss that on just to take a look at that for this real quick. This one here, that would definitely be on. It's not really going to matter for mining, but the grinder, it does limit the grinder's sound. Screen gunk would definitely be on. Wouldn't need this. The radar would be a no-go. Wouldn't need that. Wouldn't need that. Don't need this. Long range ore detectors. That would be a bit cheaty, but at the same time, we're not going to be mining, so don't need it. Jaws blade interact directly with all light blocks. I think this would be okay, just because that would make it easier to set the colors for lights and stuff. I mean, that's sort of debatable, because if you can interact with the light, you can probably access the terminal with it, and might be able to see stuff. I'm not sure. I'm just now realizing that the improvised engineering is a buffed version for creative mode. So let's see over here on Steam. What was it called? It was improvised engineering. So that's the one that I have. Yeah, buff for lever steer cockpit. That's not what I'm looking. Might be linked in there. Let's click on this and see if there's a link to the other one. That would be the grid pickup mod here. Carry and drag small grids. Okay. Carry a teammate on it. I don't know. Actually, I think the other one would be better because this one, it's only small grids that you can maneuver about with your hand, and I feel like this one would just be better because it lets you do large and small grids. Uh, Plus, we would be in space, and I have messed around with that before. I don't know if it's been shown in, or well, I know it's been shown in some of the videos, but I don't know if anyone watching this might have seen the previous videos where I used it or not. But it's not all that strong, so I'm thinking we would grab that. Plus, it would be kind of difficult to orientate a block the correct way using that. The hacking computer, we're not going to add it, but I'll ask the question: should this be acceptable or not? Personally, I think it should, just for the fact that I don't like to go and grind blocks down individually, but at the same time, this doesn't affect your relations, and for a pirate playthrough, I feel like it'd be better to have to grind those blocks down and take the relation hit. This would be a no-go. Better spotlights. That would definitely be on. So we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 mods right there. Again, things like this I wouldn't really count as a mod. I wouldn't necessarily count this as a mod. This I wouldn't count as a mod. You know, so that would put us down to 6, right? That'd be improvised engineering, the pod, if we go along with that. Binoculars, build vision, just because that really does make changing settings on like pistons and stuff, especially for like printers, that makes that so much easier to do instead of having to do everything through the terminal, you know? So, and the advanced welding, I feel like it's not necessary, but it makes things like attaching pieces of ships together, in my opinion, more realistic, and also they would attach in the same manner. It's just it would be extra work to try to fit merge blocks as well as extra resources to throw a merge block down to connect up a couple grids and then grind off the blocks afterwards, right? Unless I'm misunderstanding how the merge blocks are. I think, do they have to stay on if the two grids that they merge together touches? Don't I don't think they do. I think once the merge block connects, if the two blocks are pressed together, I think that counts as them being welded together, sort of like how the weld pads work. But I mean, I guess we can just leave that here, right? Because we don't necessarily need that per se. It just makes things a little easier with designing with the lights. But this would be like the main go-to setup right here. Yeah. Feel free to give your input on what you think would be necessary versus what isn't. You know, but let's head back over to the workshop again real quick, and I want to look for skybox. We'll get rid of these, and we want to go all-time most popular. skybox. Better looking environment. The light show. What is this? Is that actually static or does that? I don't know, but that looks pretty cool. It looks like the warp from 40K. That looks kind of neat. We're gonna take a look at that, I guess. And the ignition. That one looks pretty nice. Mm. Enter 4K. Camera's a lot. Zooming integrated skybox 1080. So yeah, this would still have the same issue as some of the other skyboxes where it would look kind of grainy when you zoom in. I think that's probably going to be an issue with the light show as well. In fact, let me look for 4K. Let's take a look at what we have that's marked as 4K. We got the Milky Way galaxy that's probably a little too realistic for what I want. Pertem rust, solar flare. Feel free to let me know if anyone happens to know of like a really great skybox, and I can take a look at it. Look at this one. This one looks pretty good. It has been photoshopped and manually blended into a generated star-filled form starscape. System president on a reduced scale. Oh, okay, so that adds transfers ballistic using darkness divine. Oh, that's out of date, not supported. Okay, so this is interesting. That might be cool to play with. We'll hold off on that though, because I think that's like not just a skybox, but that's like a full solar system. Plus, personally, I kind of like things that are more like this, where it's got like the kind of like smoky sort of effect. DMCA, copyright, whatever notice. You may copy, reproduce, distribute, publish, display, perform, modify, create. Any other way. Exploit any part of this mod's material to your art. So basically they're saying that we have permission to display and everything, all the stuff here. Kind of like that. We're going to take a look at this as well. Personally, the colors are a little wonky to me, but take a look anyway. What about this one? It's a bit too dark for my taste, personally. But let's jump back over here. We're going to refresh. Let's take a look here. So we got the blue-purple bright nova right there. And then we have the other one should be somewhere up here, right? Skybox light show. Let's give light show a test first. And then if that one's a little too wonky, we'll give the 4K one over there a test. But these would be the mods. So did I put the... I didn't. Where is it? Maybe I did. Yeah, the space spot, okay. Yeah, we'll hit OK on this. So that would be kind of the ideal mods that personally I would want to utilize for something like this. Any of the other settings, if you have any particular ideas on what we should or shouldn't be allowed to use, you know, at least let me know. I don't expect like a whole thesis on every little thing that is and isn't allowed, but I would like just a little bit more detailed general overview of like what I should and shouldn't be capable of. Like, is there any like fine line where, you know, there's something that I could do that would kind of ruin the spirit of this sort of playthrough or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and start this up. We'll load in, we'll see what the skybox looks like, as well as what the that new spawn pod looks like as well. Okay. So we would want to do space pod, which it did replace the base game space pod with this one. We're going to spawn in on this and take a look at what this runic looks like. Well, my jetpack's not working. Did I accidentally turn that off? Or is the game just having a moment? Oh, I'm sitting down, that's why. Okay, I'm stupid. Alright. Okay, what do we start with? We have a station. We have ice, hydrogen, oxygen, some Gatling ammo, some tools to start out, a few weapons, and what does it say? Welcome to Survival Bots, PvE Space Engineer Server. Please help yourself, help your fellow engineers and have fun. Alt to look around, be detained to left enter exit. Okay. It feels like there are some missing parts on this. I could be wrong about that. Maybe that's how it's meant to be. But it feels like there's a few missing... Yeah, there's definitely some missing things here. I'm not sure what was supposed to be there. But yeah, that's not how it's supposed to be. I can tell you that much. So, as cool as this would be to have as the starting space pod, that's not going to happen. However, the skybox looks really good. That's kind of odd looking up there, actually. Never mind. Doesn't look quite as good as initially imagined. Let's see. Can I do rolls? Where is the hidden? They are hidden. I want to hit control on that and zoom. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, never mind. Still just about as blurry. I mean, I don't think there's really any fix to that, but I'm just not a fan of it being so blurry, especially like, so this bit here that comes down and through, it looks like there's light coming in from behind, but the edges of it are just so blurry. Like, it almost looks like looking at a 3D movie. I mean, it probably looks amazing to some people, right? Like, it probably doesn't bother that many people, but for me, like, that section right there, just the edges of it really, it irks me to look at, because it just feels too blurry to me. But, again, that's just personal preference. I mean, overall, this is a beautiful skybox, don't get me wrong. It's amazing work to whoever made this. For me, it's just not for me, is what I'm saying. So, we're going to come back out, and we're going to load this game, and we're going to change the skybox to the other one, give that a try. Edit settings, mods. We're going to get rid of the light show skybox, and we're going to throw in the other skybox here. Hit OK. And check in here. Okay, no, I don't see anything for that, so I'm just going to hit OK on there. And we're going to load it up with the new skybox now. And I did just take a hit off the vape. I don't know if that came through on the mic or not. I had it on charge for a minute, so we're going to load back in here. Okay. So, first impressions of Skybox is really dark. Like, insanely dark. Personally, not a fan. I mean, I definitely get why some people would enjoy the realism of it. For me, I want to be able to see what I'm looking at. That's just me, though. What we're going to do, we're going to come in here and we're going to go back to the panel. I'll find a turret. And we're going to take control and zoom in. Okay, so I do really like the quality. Very crisp, even fully zoomed in. Do it like that. Zoom in on the sun here. That's really cool, actually. Yeah, I could get over it being so dark. Just thanks to the crispness of this one. Actually, let me see here. In options in the display. Video mode. Okay. So I don't see anything for that. It might be over here. Flare intensity, grass draw distance. We're going to turn ambient occlusion off. That will keep on right now. Everything else is fine. I'm gonna hit OK on that. Let's see, is that any better as far as dark areas go? Not really. What about with the light on? Okay, the light on looks alright. I mean, that's definitely... I can deal with that for sure. Light off, very dark. Personally, I'm not a fan. Like, imagine coming in and you lose a ship that you're trying to fight in the dark. Because it's just too dark to see it, and you can't find the guns on it, and you get wrecked over because you just couldn't see it. Like, the realism's definitely there for that. But also, why does that block look so weird? I guess it's just the color of it. There's no, like, texture to it, really. Interesting. But there's definitely blocks missing. Probably a mod that just don't have. This is definitely intended for a someone's like private, or well, I guess not private per se, but for someone's server rather than for use in. I do like how the moon looks in this. The lighting on the moon looks great. The lighting on the asteroids also looks great. It's just very dark. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna backspace. Actually, I'm gonna take this off. Okay. That off. It's not gonna matter because I have everything in here. We're gonna do Alt F10. Distance for player, space pod remic. We're gonna remove that, and then we're going to respawn. Yes, I want to respawn. And now we're going to save changes. And we're going to get rid of that mod there. So we want to do edit settings, mods. I'm going to remove that space pod. So we're at 9 currently. I'm going to hit OK on that. Now we're going to load back in and see if I can spawn in the default space pod. Take a look at what that has. I don't know if it has weapons. For a piracy playthrough, I feel like weapons would be almost a necessity, considering we're going to be commandeering and stealing ships. I mean, that's something to work out, though. We could kind of pretend to be like a space engineer who was betrayed or something and became a pirate to that betrayal, or you know, some bullshit like that. Something like that would be fine, I guess. See this one here? The skin has got like little nicks and scratches, and actually gives a little bit of detail. It looks a little less weird. Still, it's kind of flat, but it's just letting all the oxygen out. Doesn't really matter, I don't suppose. But what do we get with this? We get a hydrogen engine. I guess for power generation. Any solar panels at all? No solar panels. So we would need to get kind of lucky in finding a wreck that has solar cells on it, or the materials to produce solar cells. Because we would want power generation that doesn't rely on hydrogen. Oops. Float off into space if I do that. So we start off with a hydrogen oxygen bottle, so that's great. Got a survival kit here. Let's check little inventory. We get a gun. We get some starting ice, which would be almost necessary until we can get a hold of power generation that isn't ran by that. So the pirate raider. Why is my... Oh. I lost my maglock, that's why I was spinning in place like that. And a pirate vulture. Both of these are definitely armed. The vulture certainly is armed. So I wouldn't want to mess with any of that. But we would be relying almost entirely on what spawns. So we would just have to hope and pray that that we could get a hold of something with solar panels, or, like I said, the materials for them. Another question that I have, what about like the entity list over here? I'm assuming I wouldn't be allowed to use that to look and see what we have near me, right? That's probably a no-go, yeah? It's like I wouldn't be able to click on this and take a look at the grids around me. Because then I could find things like this stingray and then just kind of look and see where I am, right? And then I'd be able to like come over here and get a hold of stuff like that, which I don't think would be really all that fair. Personally. That being said, knowing about weapons like that would be pretty nice, but again, that's kind of cheaty. Anyway, FN6. So where would that be? Actually, I do kind of want to know. It would be off that way somewhere. That would be relying on spawns like that. So it's kinda this way. And what settings do we have? So this is turned off by default. There's no automation blocks on this at all. Okay. So see, like, stuff like that would definitely be very, very useful. These little unknown signals up here. Can I just auto to get away from it so I can fly up here? Basically, I'm gonna play in this for a little bit, almost as if we were doing the playthrough. This isn't going to be the actual one. I'm going to end up hitting the save, and we'll start fresh for, like, if we do a series for like space piracy. Also, I feel like I would need to change my outfit, because right now I have the solid gold set on, like gold everything, and I'd feel like a pirate wouldn't start off with solid gold stuff. But nothing special in there, that's not a surprise. What kind of materials could we be getting out of these? Just like standard stuff. Stuff like this would be huge. Huge in that. And the whole grid itself would be valuable. So, and in fact, actually, just grinding batteries down like that would be a terrible idea. So what you would really want to do is, oh, bit of a lag spike there. That's good to know. And grinding is very, very slow with these starting tools. So. Let's see here. What would it take to build a landing gear? Oh, I got it on my hotbar actually. So see, like that right there, it didn't show me what materials I need for it. So that's why I think the other mod for like the build info would be really helpful, right? Like when you're hovering over and placing a block, you like to know if you have the materials to place it, and that's not default, which I actually forgot it wasn't default. Because I was so used to having the mod on. But let's really quickly load that in and just take a look at the difference for it. So that would be the build info. So basically, if you noticed, when I was hovering to place the landing gear, it showed me all of the materials necessary to build it. But it did not tell me if I had the materials on me or not. And personally, that's kind of a huge deal, because I don't want to have to go back and forth, trying to remember, okay, well, I needed this many of this and that many of that. If I can visually see when I pull out materials from the cargo container, if I can visually see, okay, well, I'm missing, you know, these certain components, and I kind of have a little reminder that I can quickly just pull out that block and see what I need, it would really help me out and stuff. My memory's not that great, and I'm pretty sure just listening to me talk is kind of frustrating at some points, because I forget words and I say things like and and stuff like that a lot. Let's see, now when I hold this out, you can see it actually shows me the components necessary for it. So that's kind of huge, right? Anyway, just a little bit of, not really a rant, I don't guess, but yeah, just kind of showing a bit of a quality of life improvement that mod would give. Again, it's up to y'all on what I would and wouldn't be able to use and stuff. Like if I do go and start a playthrough like that, you know, I don't want to be like, you know, I like this idea, but I'm not going to do everything you want me to do. You know, nah, I'm going to try to be respectful and take any ideas and stuff into like serious consideration as far as like what should and shouldn't be allowed, you know. The gravity generator would be very nice for this. Also, where is the air vent? Oh, it's right here. Yeah, we're gonna toggle that off. I don't want all my air to be wasted trying to pressurize a cockpit. So there's a mayday. Excuse me. There's a mayday down here. Going to look for. Actually, there's a beacon right there, even closer. Let's turn for that. Although that beacon's staying on, so that's got me kind of worried here. What actually is that? One idea that I just had is, okay, that's 2 enemy signals. Mining outpost. Yep, nope, we're not gonna go over there, because that's gonna spawn in more enemies, and we're not equipped to fight with this. Another beacon down there. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not actually sure where we're heading to right now. There's a stingray that I wanted to visit. Which we are getting closer to it. Never mind, we're getting further from it. It's off to the side. That'll be like down here somewhere, I guess. I want to take a look at that stingray and see if it's gonna want to shoot at us and stuff. Kind of want to get an idea of what is and isn't going to be a good idea to go to. I think that was it. I think I see it right there. The resources on a mining outpost would be huge, though. So what I could do, I could, well, nah, I'm not gonna do that. Never mind. Oh yeah, we're heading straight for it, pretty much. We're 8 kilometers out. So see, doing stuff like this, I feel like shouldn't be allowed when we do the, or if we do an actual playthrough, of just being piratey. And in the comment suggestion, building a base on an asteroid was a particular specific suggestion. I would imagine that since in that same comment the suggestion was no mining, I would imagine that we would be allowed to use right-click on the drill tool only. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that would be not a super far-fetched assumption. Is that we'd still be capable of okay. Yeah, this turrets are still going to be an issue for this one. And it killed me. So I couldn't even get around to a safe side on it. So, I don't know, would just be throwing bodies at it be an acceptable course of action. What about tools? Do I spawn with tools or do I not? Do I turn that off to where like I would have to get the tools back off the bottom? I feel like that would make things... Personally, I feel like it would make it more difficult than necessary. But, and that's just me. So. Can I find an angle where I can get close to it without it killing me? Okay, on the bottom there. I can get back to it. But safe angle, please.
Low.
No, don't kill me, don't kill me. Damn it, killed me. So, stuff like that, that would get very frustrating. To have to watch, especially. And, as I've said before, I'm not interested. To be quite frank, I am not interested in doing heavy editing on these videos, okay? I'm a very lazy person. I work pretty long hours. I don't want to spend a lot of my free time doing edits on these videos. It was more so just for my personal enjoyment in recording these, rather than like specifically trying to get views and everything. But it's definitely more so for my personal enjoyment rather than for the views. I am definitely okay with making videos like for on like playthroughs and stuff of like specific scenarios and things, but it's just like you know, I don't want to put a ton of effort into it because I don't want to fully commit to doing it like all the time, right? Because I got a full-time job and everything. Putting more time into editing means less time for playing, and it turns it into another job rather than just a fun hobby. See, I can't even get to this one. There's like a... Oh, never mind, that's not a good spot. Yep, okay, never mind. So, like, for me, that's not fun to try to do. For y'all, I'm pretty sure trying to watch that is not fun to watch, right? So this is just kind of like an example of... Like, this would be very frustrating without having some form of weaponry to start, yeah? Solutions to that. I could like start off as like a creative save just to paste in a copy of this respawn pod that's been modified, right? And by modified, I mean I could do like a sort of a rustic red, and just do full paint, rustic red, something like that, quick and easy, and then add a couple guns on this or something, and maybe drop in some ammo to start. Probably nothing too crazy, like maybe just a couple of Gatling turrets or something that I could throw in here. I could swap this out for, instead of a conveyor bend, I could do like a conveyor junction and do a turret off to the side and then the turret up here. You know, just something like that. Drop in some ammo into the container and call it a day. Spawn that in creative and then switch the save settings over to be its survival. Just to give something a little better to start with, so I could actually get over there, put some fire downrange, and try to take those guns off, right? So that way we can actually get something to start. You know? Because, trying to fly in there just without anything other than your basic tools is just a pain. And I think we have a starting gun somewhere, don't we? Pretty sure we do. That me. Not. That's in the flight seat. Okay. So I do inventory on that. So we have a starting pistol, yeah? So if I clear out my hotbar, get character weapons, grab the pistol. From what I understand, trying to take a turret out with this, not going to be your best bet. We can do like some weapon mods maybe, or like some piracy type stuff. Have a much stronger hand weapons, and instead of having a modified like guns put on the ship, have just improved hand weapons to use to take stuff like that out. In fact, let's give it a try. So, I don't have binoculars, don't have anything to increase my zoom. We're just gonna have to get right at the edge of the fire limit on those turrets and pray I can aim. So, that one's like right there. I don't even know if that's actually hitting or not. Can't see to tell. So, it's just little things like, okay. Too close. You need to back off. 7. Okay, it's not shooting at me now. Now it is. So go back up to 800. I don't know if this is even hitting. The front sight isn't even aligned properly, right? Because you do any actual shooting, you know, you align the top of the front sight with the top of the rear sight. And you focus on the front sight and then focus on the target behind that. But the target should actually be blurry. Your front sight should be perfectly clear. The rear sight should be blurry. Then you place your front sight on your target. But I don't know if any of these are actually hitting at all. And trying to maneuver while doing that, this makes it even more difficult because then your point of impact is going to be completely different from your point of aim. And you don't have a lead indicator when you're flying in your suit. So, this makes early piracy actually like extremely difficult to do until you get some form of weaponry going. What could be done is just taking the scrap from these unknown signals and hoping you get enough to start producing like the finer assembler and get some weapons going. But that could definitely take a good while here. Nothing special on there, but like, see, we could take parts off of these. It's definitely, that's actually pretty good ore detector. Or detector components, I mean. So I mean, like, you can definitely get parts for sure. It's just, it's gonna take a minute. So it's like, it'd be really slow to start, and then we would get into the action, and then from the action it would kind of progress pretty quickly after that. Unless there was like any major setback, right? But I mean, like, we could just go for solely the unknown signals to start, I guess. I mean, that's a decent amount of components. I don't think that's anywhere near what I would need to make a turret, though. In fact, we can check. Alright, E turret. Progression. Right. So there's another question. Progression. Do we have it on? Do we have it off? So to make turrets, we would need right here is the interior turret. We need to make a basic assembler first. So. And for that, we have nowhere near the components we need. So, it'll be, it'll definitely be rough to start, for sure. There's a beacon pretty close by right there. I think that, oh, that's that mining base that was over there. So like I said, I'm not trying to shoot down any ideas or anything. Like I'm definitely down to do this, if that's what the people want. Like I said, there are some hard limits though. I will not be increasing the amount of time I spend on editing by any major amount. Just because I'm lazy, I don't want to make this feel like a job. But it's like we could do that, and then we could peel off some of the armor here to build that up. But so personally, I don't actually like the progression tree. Now it's all up to personal preference. On my first or the survival playthrough that I have right now, I did have it on and I played with it the whole way through. But it's one of those things that it gets very annoying to me, especially when you have limited resources, like not being able to mine, right? Because it's like you would have to peel off armor and crucial components to build things, to then rip them back down, to then try to remember what you took off to repair it, to not damage your structural integrity of your ship. And for a playthrough like this, your starting ship is your life. If you lose it, it's over. Like, you gotta restart. So, I don't know. I mean, you could take less crucial components like these doors off and use that, I guess. Personally, I quite like the
energy low.
The idea of having the progression system turned off. Yes, that way you don't have to build blocks you don't need just to unlock new blocks. And I kind of feel like it's odd for the game to have blocks that are locked behind progression, because you, storyline wise, right, like you're a space engineer, yeah, like this is your job. Like, why would you not already know some of the basics of what you signed up to do, right? So it's like, I don't know. But we would need computers and build computers, but not strong. What computers? We need iron and silicon. And this doesn't even have a disassembling option, so we would need an assembler first, which that's what we're trying to build, but we don't have the raw materials necessary to do that. Where did I get the enhanced drill from? There's another unknown signal. So basically, we'd just be floating in space until we can get to where we could actually build guns and do piracy. Okay, now see this. This is a good one. So like this, we get a turret off this. So I guess if we get lucky, it's not going to be as bad as what I'm kind of expecting it to be. It's like with this particular unknown signal, like we actually get quite a bit of materials. I'll say like that battery I just broke down, that's something that we wouldn't want to do. Just because the batteries are going to be pretty important. The things necessary to make that are going to be pretty hard to get a hold of. But the power cells. So I guess like a really good unknown signal spawn like this would be crucial for the start to get the materials necessary to actually get started. Okay, so we got all of that. Now, issue, that was a small grid Gatling, and we have a large grid, which Gatling gun is actually still locked behind a landing gear and a control seat. Let's say I wouldn't be needing to build a control seat since the spawn pod has one. So, personally, I would suggest allowing me to have progression turned off. But, again, if that's not really wanted, it's fine. I can work around it. But, see, I still need computers, so I can't even get started even off of a great find like that. I still can't actually start doing anything yet. We would just be sitting here hoping for unknown signals. I mean, I could be, I guess, going to different beacons along the way. Like maybe this finding outpost isn't going to be too bad. Like, get that up. Stuff. The Stingray would have been pretty nice though, if I could have gotten to it. what I'm thinking about is for the character cosmetics, I could throw on the scrapper set in red, and I think that would fit the part pretty well. One thing that would be cool is if I could have the pirates start as friendly and all other factions start as hostile. But then that would be kind of counterintuitive, as in most of these signals are pirates. So I would just be able to waltz right up to a grid, get behind the turret, and just take a turret off, and then I'm kind of safe, and I can just grind my way to the other turrets. And that would be kind of cheesy. I mean, I'm certainly not above it, but again, though, I don't think there's really a way to change your faction rep, unless I'm wrong about that. Let's check the Alt F10 menu. So what do we got here? We got economy, spectator match, PCU, weather, global permissions, safe zones, replay tool, manage characters, add character, add a new controllable character. That's interesting. Economy. Oh, change rep of player. So I can actually do that. So I can go with like a space pirate, and we could do like, I don't know, let's max that out. Okay, friends in the other faction. So we can do that. And then I don't think I can select all of the other factions. But we could be like negative with everything else. So yeah, that's definitely something I can do. I didn't think it was possible, but I've proved myself wrong. Spiders are already negative. Space pirates were positive. We want to keep it that way. And I want to test and see if I get close to that grid, is it going to open fire on it? Okay, so I can't do unknown negative. So yeah, these are green now. So let's see what happens when I get close. And I think there are pirate stations as well, like with trade posts and stuff, but I think those are pretty rare. Rather than risking the ship and everything on it, I'm just gonna fly in with my pistol drone and see if they open fire on me. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I would like to make sure I bump everything. We got an unknown signal over there. Let's check out this turret first and see if it's gonna open fire on me. Okay. Let's see, this is kind of cheaty though, right? Because there's tons of these all over the place. And being friendly with it, I can... Oh no, actually access is denied on it. So I would still need to lose reputation with the faction by grinding stuff down. But I'd be able to get inside and kind of pick through stuff. I'd be able to easily claim grids that I shouldn't be able to, just stuff like that. It's like, it's definitely pretty cool. What's my phone doing? Oh, it's telling me to wake up. That must be an alarm that I had set for yesterday. Okay. But anyway, kind of get the point here. Like, see, it would be pretty cheaty of me to be able to come over here and just grind this down from behind it. Granted, the grid should become hostile, and then this turret here would be an issue, but I could just avoid it by not going over to that side. Right? So that would be kind of cheating. Also, I didn't even notice that turret up there, so that would have been pretty rough if I decided to grind this down and then the one right there decided to go after me. But, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely some things to think about with, doing something like this as far as, a full playthrough is concerned. I guess, what I'll do, I'll check out this unknown signal stuff just to take a look at it, grab the cosmetic off of it. I'll, head out to the main menu and do like character customization and stuff, and see what y'all think about that for a piracy playthrough. We got another one of these, sort of like solar cell type things. Ooh, that's actually a good resource. Iron and nickel just floating in space for me. But this would be pretty good to find, right? Because that would solve my power generation issues by just giving me a couple solar panels. Granted, small grid. But that would have enough solar cells on it to do the large grid. Let's see here. Large grid, no, okay, it needs 32, that's only 16 in total across the two of them, so I would need a few of these. Another alternative would be to do like a grid conversion, right? So I could do a rotor with a large grid rotor to a small grid rotor, and then just weld one of these directly up to it, right? There are no thruster components in this, but that's a lot of construction components. And I think the weld pads require construction components and steel plates, and one computer apiece. So the computers would be a bit of a pain to get a hold of. But aside from that, actually the camera has 3 computers on it, so should be able to eventually get enough just from these, but Again, that would be kind of slow because you only get one of these to spawn every 15 minutes. And if, say, I need like 6 of them, that would be, what, an hour and a half of just floating in space, hoping for these here to pop in to get enough materials to get some proper power generation going. I don't know. The skybox here is actually growing on me a bit, and even despite it being like way too dark for my taste. Right? Because without the light, it's like, holy crap, I can't tell what's going on here. But, I don't know. I mean, guess what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and save and exit. And what we'll do, we'll go ahead and delete this this test save here. Well, no, actually, we'll keep it for the time being. Just for right now. We'll keep it. I'll go over to the character menu here, and what I'll do is let me see. So we got minor helmet. Let's go ahead and select our color. Be whatever, red. A little more vibrant, maybe something like that. Probably be good. So we got the miner helmet, the scavenger helmet, and actually the color change doesn't take effect on the scavenger, so it'll just be rusted. So maybe the miner would be better. I mean, they're full like suits that I don't have all the parts for, so try and find some cosmetics for a pirate playthrough might be a bit of a challenge. I could do I think the shark helmet looks pretty cool. There's also a robot. Nah, no, we're not going to go with robot helmet. Soldier helmet. Meh. Not really feeling it. I think the shark would be the best for helmet choice. That looks a bit dirty and gritty, and that looks a bit too clean. So we need like something in the middle there. Maybe the skeleton. Skeleton could be cool for that. We also got the soldier suit. How about that? The lighting looks really weird as well. For some reason. It's proper suit. I don't know. I guess I'll take some suggestions on which cosmetics to go with, but I'm thinking skeleton and shark head. Maybe the soldier gloves, because I like the where that menu is on the thing. Could also go with the scavenger gloves. It doesn't really fit the aesthetic though. Retro. If I had the full graffiti set, that might be neat for a pirate, but I don't know. Might be too much color. So like, I'm thinking That's between soldier, scavenger, or retro. I'm leaning towards soldier myself on that. And the boots doesn't really matter. There's not that much difference between them. Probably like the soldier boots would be a good fit. Proper boots, I think that's a bit too much red. Same with chef boots. And the assault boots. It's probably soldier boots as well for that. Yeah, too much red. Glimmer. That's like way too shiny. So yeah, I think that's too much red as well. So yeah, I'm thinking a shark would be best bet. No, it's also got quite a bit of red on it. I mean, I don't necessarily have to go with the red color to be a pirate, you know, but something like that would be pretty cool. I like a ghostly green. But I just feel like personally red I feel fits the aesthetic better. Maybe this red over here on this side because it's a little bit more of an orangish red. No, actually exactly the same, so I guess I'll guess my mind playing tricks on me. Yeah, I thought for some reason I felt like this one was a little bit different. I don't want pink, so straight red would be okay. And for the tools, I'm thinking probably like the proper tools would be okay. What does the retro stuff look like? Yeah, actually, retro might be a good choice there. Maybe the minor stuff. Ooh, that actually looks very cool. Got that a while back, but I say a while back, it was just a couple episodes ago. But slime grinder I've had forever. That thing was like one of my first like actually rare to get cosmetics. Maybe the minor set would be a good one. That's kind of dirty and worn down. Zombie set would be nice if I had multiples, like the actual set for it. Yeah, I'm thinking the minor stuff would be good. For the weapon, I don't know about a minor weapon. Probably that's pretty cool. I think we might go with the lava gun. That thing's actually really cool looking. So That's the one thing I'm going to keep like that, I guess. So secret. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. So it's either going to be for the gun, the lava, or the soldier for that. And the welder we can do. It's the miner welder. Have the miners set for that. And again, like the soldier stuff, I think is a bit too much. The scavenger stuff, while that looks really cool, I kind of wish I could change the color of it. It's just going to be like that dingy brown. The miner set, I mean, that could be cool for a pirate, I guess. So, I mean, like I said, if there's any suggestions for stuff like that, let me know. And change stuff around. But personally, I'm thinking like the combat, or not combat, but the soldiers, gloves, and then the skeleton suit. Now, I could go to the Steam marketplace and buy a full cosmetic set, but I'm not going to do that. So, I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm not going to be doing that. But yeah, I think this video has been going on long enough now. Yeah, this is a 2-hour video just to talking about potential for gameplay. So I'll upload this, and if anyone has the time to waste to watch it all, go right ahead. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna close this out. Exit to Windows, and I'll get this uploading. I'll listen to the recording back and see if the changes to my audio really made a difference or not. Right there, I just took another hit, so I'll listen through and check and make sure that my settings are actually taking effect like they should. If not, I can go back through and check on it again. Which actually, I wonder, where is the properties? Device default. I want to use sonar microphone. Yeah. Yeah. So that might be part of the issue. Let me take a hit here and see. So there was a little bit of noise on the back end there. So maybe the audio changes I've made didn't really matter for the majority of the video here. So I don't know. I'm going to listen back to the recording. Yeah, I just took another hit for me to test with. But like I said, gonna go back, listen to this, see if the changes I made to the audio really mattered or not. When I did the test, it did. Like, I could audibly hear the difference. Like, there was no sound when I puffed on the vape, but I'll double check on that and stuff. Make any changes if I need to. Again, I could also manually mute the mic. I got a Blue Yeti, so I do have a button on the front of it I can press. It's just I forget about it a lot, and like I smoke a lot out of habit. So it's going to be kind of hard to change those habits to make the audio more comfortable. But I'll work on it, see what I can do. Let me know if there's anything that y'all can think of that would be a good idea for the playthroughs, or like limits or things that I should and shouldn't be able to do. And I got this uploading. I'm going to also reply back to the user that made the suggestion here, and let them know that I recorded a video talking about it and everything, as well as just ask them directly like what they think should and shouldn't be allowed, and try to get a little bit of communication going back and forth there to see if there's any specific limits that they want to see. Anybody else is also welcome to comment in on this video. And what I want to do is probably tomorrow, which I might do it a little bit on my free time, actually start a run sort of like that, just in my free time. Maybe make a couple videos on it, just as like a test run. But by Friday, I want to make a decision by Friday if I actually want to do a run like this. And if so, I want to get started over this weekend, if possible. And try to get, playthrough going as quick as I can. But anyway, I've subjected you to the torment of the infinite loop of OBS long enough. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording and get this uploading and get to work on getting everything else set up like I was talking about. So until next time, I'll see y'all in the next recording.